G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole, where on our first story today, OP plans to throw every boxing match they are forced to attend, and can you blame them? Now if you love today's bloody good episode, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn of the Barbie, smack that like button, and get ready for these bloody good stories. Let's go. Would I be the arsehole for throwing every wrestling match I am forced to attend? My 15-male school has recently restarted all of the sports programs after almost a year of no or limited activity. Before that, I was part of the swim team, one of the smaller groups at our school. I love swimming, and it really sucked that we couldn't go for such a long time. With the restart, the school also made a new system. Every student writes down 3 different after-school activities in order of interest. So one choice is your favorite, second your second favorite, and so on. The teachers in charge of the groups then pick the students. First pick is students who already belong to the groups before lockdown, second pick is then random, and third pick is if there are still places left open in the group. Since I was part of the swim team before, and put it down as my first choice, I would basically be guaranteed to get in. But now the results are out and I was placed in wrestling. I never even put that on my list at all, so I went to the teacher and asked what was going on. Turns out the teacher in charge of wrestling specifically requested me for whatever reason. Turns out my dad knows the wrestling teacher quite well and asked for me to be placed on the team. I know my dad hates that I prefer swimming. He always says that it's not a real sport and that I should do some sport that actually gives me muscles. He constantly tells me I'm too skinny for a guy and has made several attempts to make me go to the gym to work out. I asked the teachers if I can still switch teams, but they say no. I also cannot avoid going to the wrestling club because after-school activities are mandatory. So last night I had a huge fight with my dad. I called him an ass for forcing me to go to wrestling and that I'll just forfeit every single match I have to attend. He threatened me, saying if I do that, he will take away my electronics and I'll only be allowed to leave the house for school and nothing else. My mum said I should have the right to choose whatever sport I want, but now that I'm on the wrestling team, I should still do my best. Also, not to call my dad an ass. But I don't want to participate in something that I have zero interest in. I was forced into even. Also, I was really looking forward to swimming again and meeting my teammates. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I may be the arsehole because throwing matches doesn't help anyone. I kinda hope to get kicked off the team though, so I can choose a different club. Now in the comments, complain to your principal. This backroom deal between your father and the wrestling coach does not sound fair. To you or anyone else who trusted the voting system. Fight this placement. You deserve swim team, not the arsehole. And OP replies, I can try to request a talk with the principal. We can't just walk in and talk to him. You have to first go to a teacher, and then secretary, and so on. But yeah, I will complain to my teachers. This isn't fair. Not the arsehole. That's ridiculous, and also, your dad doesn't think swimming gives you muscles? Less manlier sports like gymnastics, and even areas like dancing can be just as good for the body as more conventionally physical sports like football and wrestling, and great for stamina, hand-eye coordination, and straight-up perseverance. Look at Nightwing in the comments. Background is a trapeze artist with an acrobatic movement style, and he's one of the sexiest DC characters for good reason. Not the arsehole, but there are plenty of arseholes in your story. Dad, coach, and mom. I forced my kids to do stuff when they were your age, but only after they themselves had asked to join an activity. We had a 1-semester rule. If you yourself want to play soccer, you don't get to come and go to practice as you wish because of Xbox, or quit mid-season. Also, wrestling isn't just any sport. It is a combat sport that isn't for everyone. To force a young man to wrestle against his will is more bonkers than to force someone to swim. But don't call your dad an ass if you want him to listen to your argument. And back to the post, edit. Thanks so far for the support. Next week I will talk to more teachers, guidance teacher, and also write to the principal. I guess I'll also try to talk with my mum again and maybe convince her. Also, we'll mention what some people wrote, that wrestling could potentially be dangerous, and maybe that'll convince her. Worst case, I will go through with it and just put in 0 effort if no one listens to me. Edit 2. So this has gotten a lot more responses than I thought. First of all, thanks to everyone for supporting me. I talked to my mum again without my dad nearby, and she still thinks that I should give wrestling a try, but if I really want to change, she will support me. So next week I will go and talk first to my swim coach and the wrestling coach, and hopefully get it resolved. Otherwise, I will go further to the principal. I can post an update next week and tell you guys how things worked out. Some of you suggested that I should go to the newspaper or something, but I really do not feel comfortable blowing things up like that. Slandering the school is going to backfire like 100%. I have also gotten a lot of creative things instead of just throwing the match. I would like to show my face in public sometimes, so no, I will ignore most of the really weird suggestions, but thanks, I guess. I also got a few questions about the rule of afternoon activities being mandatory. So we have to do activities for 2 years total, but we are free to choose when we do them during high school. We can choose between a lot of club activities offered by the school, not just sports, but all kinds of activities. Music, art, reading and writing clubs, gardening, or even game design. School club activities are always free, and if you require financial assistance for like an instrument or so, I think you can also get financial aid. But I don't really know the details. Additionally, if we attend a club or regular activity outside of school, we can also get credits for that. Just need to work it out with the teachers. We also don't get grades or something, it's just noted on our final report. I also do not really know what happens if you don't complete them. And now onto the update. So I wanted to write an update after the situation has been resolved. First things first, I'm back on the swim team, for now. Today was a really weird and awkward day. First opportunity, I went to talk to my swim coach and explain the whole situation and that I'm not willing to stay on the wrestling team. He was pretty mad at my dad as well as the wrestling coach, so he took me to the secretary and explained the whole thing and asked her to change the list. She was in turn quite mad because apparently the whole system is a big mess. I'm not even remotely the only student who was misplaced. So then the secretary called in my homeroom teacher. There was a lot of accusation. I was just standing there feeling awkward. Really weird to see 3 adults being mad at each other. In the end, I was basically told by all 3 to just ignore the whole thing and that I can just join the swim team if I want to. I figured that was it, until the end of the school day. Then the wrestling coach had me come to his office. He gave me a long talk about how disappointed he is, how he had high hopes for me, blah blah blah. I told him I don't really care, and that he was a jerk for just ignoring what I want to do. To sum up, wrestling coach got mad at me, homeroom teacher mad at me for complaining, swimming coach mad at school, and my dad is probably gonna freak out when he hears that I won't wrestle. Oh well. Lastly, I want to thank all the people that encouraged me to stand up for myself. You had a lot of good advice, and some really weird advice, and some really terrible but funny advice. Thank you all. Small update. Mum told Dad about the switch as he came home from work. He has so far completely ignored me. Not a single word. Actually a nice outcome, I guess. And last update, I wanted to add a last point here. Last night, I had a talk with my dad and my mom. It was awkward. Dad apologized for the wrestling thing, but also said that he wants me to grow up strong so that I can defend myself. He says swimming won't help me when I get in trouble. I was really confused about that because I never really have been bullied or gotten in trouble or something like that. Mum later told me that my dad used to get bullied a lot in high school, so he started working out in college and that helped him a lot. I guess he wanted me to do the same. It's really weird at home at the moment, but I guess he's not a complete arse. Still kinda, but I don't know. Now in the comments, in regards to your comment about it being odd seeing all the teachers mad at each other, the only adult I can see is your swim coach. Everyone else is behaving like a bunch of manipulative mini-dictators who are bummed that they got caught out screwing with a young adult who knows his own mind by now. That's why it looks so weird. If your dad flips, show him the original thread. And if your dad reads this, you are the epicenter of the mess. It is entirely your fault. Don't take it out on your kid. I think the secretary is just an overworked bureaucrat who had the responsibility of setting this whole system up thrust upon her. So I don't think she's to blame at all. It sounds like, from her perspective, she gave instructions to the people involved, and those people likely didn't follow her instructions, either by negligence or malice. That kind of a scenario is par for the course for all these systems that we're coming up with to solve problems caused by COVID. Haphazard plans, poorly executed by people without the power or time to enforce their rules, manipulated by people who have their own ideas about how things should run. I'm still kinda baffled that your dad thinks that swimming won't get you in shape. He's the true asshole of the story. OP replies, he would probably say Michael Phelps is way too skinny to be a real man. Maybe I should point out how stretched my dad's shirts are from his beer belly. Is he aware that wrestlers routinely cut weight like hell? Good luck, man. Your dad is acting like a real dick here. I hope he wises up. Unexposed is titled, Am I the Asshole for Asking to Postpone a Punishment for Losing a Hockey Bet? I, 24 male, am originally from Denver, but I currently live in Las Vegas. My best friend Jermaine, also 24 male, has lived in Vegas for most of his life. We are both massive hockey fans. I've been an Avalanche fan for as long as I can remember, and Jermaine is proud to say that he's been a VGK fan since day one. When it was announced that the Avs and the VGK were going to face off during the 2021 Stanley Cup playoffs, we had to make a bet. We decided that the fan of the losing team will get their haircut by the winner. The Avs lost, and I will accept the haircut, but not right now. All I asked was if we can postpone it by a few weeks. We never set a date for when the haircut has to take place, but I'm due to serve as a groomsman for my sister's wedding 2 weekends from now. I at least owe it to her to have some nice wedding pictures, and not another reminder that her brother is an idiot and that our team lost to the most hated team in the West Division. Jermaine, on the other hand, thinks that I should suck it up and take the haircut when he so demands it. As I said before, our friends are split on the issue, but a few more are siding with Jermaine on the grounds that a bet is a bet. I'm posting here for an outside opinion. Am I the asshole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. Even though I'm only asking to delay the punishment until after the wedding, I can see why it's an asshole move on my part. Jermaine and I made a deal over the outcome of the playoffs. It is only honorable that I, as the loser, carry out those terms, even if it's at the expense of pissing off my sister. Now in the comments, not the asshole. You made the bet, not your sister. Your buddy shouldn't be punishing your sister for your sports bet, even if you do like the same team. Jermaine is going to get his due out of you in a couple of weeks. What's it matter if it's now or then? He's not a bookie, and this was in good fun. It's not like you intend to pull back on the bet. Just tell him that it's not for you, it's for your sister. If he really is your best friend, he should understand. And to soften the blow, offer to let him shave dumb stuff into your hair as you get it shaved off and take pictures. I've suffered this fate. Not the asshole. A reasonable human being would understand postponing. Also, anyone commenting who has this, well duh, a bet is a bet, attitude is screwed in the head. Even if it was set in stone, who gives a crap? It's sports, not something that actually matters. Just wait until after the wedding. And no, not the asshole. You just need to decide if your relationship with your childish friend is more important than your relationship with your sister. Seems pretty clear to me how you feel. Setting boundaries, even with friends, is healthy and important, and your friends should recognize that your sister's wedding is more important than any sports bet, obviously. I truly cannot express the level of disdain I have for those people. They watched the league and decided that's how they wanted to live their lives. God damn, I love John Lajoie. And OP replies, "Take my word for it. Outside of hockey season, Jermaine is one of the kindest, most generous, loyal people I know. He literally once gave someone his jacket off of his back. Not many people can say that about their best friend. It's whenever the VGK win that his jerk side comes out. Then again, people can say the same about me." And now onto the update. I took you guys' advice and tried to see if I can talk some sense into Jermaine. I waited a few days for him to get off his VGK winning streak high, and I think seeing his team get beaten by the Habs humbled him a bit. Anyway, I brought up asking to postpone the humiliation, and this time Jermaine was more open to it. Especially when I brought up the thing that was on the line, my sister's wedding. My older sister is normally chill AF, but even she had a few bridezilla moments leading up to yesterday. To be honest, I don't blame her. Planning a wedding is stressful, but it was worse during the past year. I had to point out to Jermaine that this was a big deal for her before reminding him of the crap that he went through when his sister was getting married. If he was me, he would have been the one begging to hold off on the punishment. In the end, Jermaine agreed to wait until after the wedding. We made up and agreed to have some kind of boundary when it comes to the future bets, especially when the humiliation may affect others like our families and other friends. That being said, the DMs I got calling me and Jermaine a couple of immature man-children were uncalled for. We may have been making stupid hockey bets since 2017, but we're also first responders with our own places, significant others, and all the other adult things. Just let us continue to do this one stupid thing as long as we aren't harming others anymore. And by the way, Jermaine and I had a blast reading through the comments and DMs later. If you think this was a stupid humiliation, we have done punishments straight from Kenny vs. Spenny episodes. Which leads me to today. Jermaine showed up at my apartment at 10 AM this morning with a pair of scissors and some clippers. Now I look like what would happen if Harry Potter lost a fight to a lawnmower. Work is going to be rough for the next 2 weeks. And now in the comments, your friendship will last forever with this dumb stuff. My husband has a tattoo on his ankle from losing a sport bet with his mate. I just put it down to boys being idiots. At least your hair will grow back. I have to look at that shamrock forever. Huh, are you married to my brother? He's an only child and makes dumb bets on UFC match outcomes, but good to know he has kindred spirits out there in the world should I need to replace him. I'm glad things worked out, and I think your caveat to your bets is definitely a fair thing to agree on. I have a similar deal with my husband and his bets with his friends. I don't care, as long as it's not negatively affecting anyone else. I hope your hair recovers fast. And P.S., go Habs, go. Sounds like you went through the something that my dad did, although not quite. He made a passing joke to his boss at the time, as my dad was known as a prankster with good intentions, about him having a nice haircut. Boss is bald. They laughed and he thought the end of that. Nope. Less than an hour later, an email was going around taking bets as to how much money it would take to shave all the hair off my dad's head. My dad then quite had a bit of hair on his head and a really full beard. End result was that he agreed, but all the money taken was then donated to the local soup kitchen and he kept his eyebrows. You and your friend keep up your childish shenanigans. It sometimes makes for hilarious memories. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.